So last night's Los Angeles Lakers game was, of course, playoff vibe central, if you will, as the Lakers took down the Knicks at home. 113-109 was the final, but we were also treated to a fantastic sideshow, which involved LeBron James doing what millions and millions and millions of Americans wish they had the chance to do. He chewed out Stephen A. Smith. Now, unfortunately, there is no audio of what was said. Smith said a little earlier in the day it was really all just about a dad being mad about his son. In other words, Smith was ripping too much on Bronny James. But we are not here today to talk about that. No. We are going to talk about just how good is this Los Angeles Lakers team, a team that is now 40-21. And I've heard way too many times people bring up the fact that JJ Redick has never coached in the playoffs before. Look, for those people, I like to remind them that Steve Kerr had never coached in the playoffs before, and you know what happened with the Golden State Warriors the first year he was their head coach. The Warriors won their first ring since 1975. Now, other people coming out basically trying to, if you will, diminish the flames around this unbelievably hot Los Angeles Lakers team. The Lakers in their last 21 games are 18-3. And yeah, I know they're not playing nearly as good as the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have won like 12 games in a row, but they are 8-2 with Luka Doncic. Now, Joe Fortenbaugh, a little earlier in the day, did have an interesting stat as he was trying to control the runaway bandwagon train of Lakers fans, but he was basically just trying to say that opponents shooting against the Los Angeles Lakers are shooting between 30 and 31%, which is basically 4% less than the average against other teams. So in other words, other teams usually shoot 34 to 35% from the three-point arc. And this was, of course, his point that was going to eventually catch up with this Los Angeles Lakers team, which I'm sure it will to some extent on Saturday night when the Lake Show shows up in Boston to do battle with the Boston Celtics. Look, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I guarantee the Celtics will be, of course, three-point shooter happy. In terms of the Stephen A. Smith controversy, completely unrelated to all of this, I wrote an article on LinkedIn yesterday titled Stephen A. Smith, Hot Takes to Presidential Polls. That particular article was actually picked up by LinkedIn News. Stephen A. Smith also yesterday ended up inking a $100 million deal for 5 years to remain with ESPN. But the question is, just how good is this Los Angeles Lakers team? Despite the sideshow that we saw with LeBron and Stephen A. Smith last night, I think personally that this Los Angeles Lakers team, assuming everybody can stay healthy, certainly has enough to actually put a ring on everybody's finger. Look, you've got two Batmans on the team, one in LeBron James, the other one, of course, in Luka Doncic. And if I hear one more person start to complain about Luka Doncic not having his legs, I wonder what will happen when Luka actually gets his legs underneath him. What did he do last night in last night's game? Well, Luka put on a show, as you all know, 32 points, apparently without having good legs, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. Sure, he could be a little healthier, but that will just probably have to truly wait until the offseason. But assuming everybody can stay healthy on this Los Angeles Lakers roster, and when I say everybody, not just talking about LeBron, I'm not just talking about Luka, but I'm also talking about Robin, who is, of course, Austin Reeves in this whole DC universe scenario. Austin Reeves is an integral part of this team actually having the ability to go all the way this year. Now, Austin's been out for a couple games with an injury. He came back last night, didn't play necessarily great, scored 8, made a big 3 in the overtime period, which of course helped. And then, of course, we had Gabe Vincent show up. He shows up about once every 4 games, and he put up 12 points last night. And then the traded away and then brought back to the team, Dalton Knecht, seems to be back on track fully at this point. He chipped in 11 points in 21 minutes of time. I want to get back to just how good this Los Angeles Lakers team is going to be in just a second. But first, I wanted to talk about the New York Knicks, who are now 40-22 on the season. And this team can only go as far as Jalen Brunson will be healthy enough to take them. We saw Brunson go down with a bad ankle sprain in the game late last night in overtime. If Brunson is out, let's say for the next 3 or 4 games of this particular road trip that this New York Knicks team is on, they could feasibly lose to teams like Sacramento and Portland on this road trip. That's how reliant the New York Knicks are on Jalen Brunson's greatness. That's not to take anything away from Jalen Brunson, and certainly you've got to give the Knicks brass some credit for actually trying to mix things up with the roster this year. That being said, this Los Angeles Lakers team, without being myopic about it, has a rejuvenated LeBron James, has what appears to be a pretty healthy Luka Doncic on it, has a series of really nice role players on their team, from Jared Vanderbilt to Gabe Vincent to, of course, Jackson Hayes, who is just constantly eating off of good passes from either LeBron and or Luka. So if everybody can remain healthy, this Los Angeles Lakers team definitely has enough to go all the way this year. Now, of course, OKC is great. And will they be able to take down OKC in a 7-game series? And I think they could. Will it happen? I'm not sure, but I think they certainly could. If they did make it to the NBA Finals, they'd most likely be going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Boston Celtics. And those are 2 completely different stories and certainly a different podcast for a different day. Love to know your thoughts and opinions. Please go and drop them in for the NBA Rundown. I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.